You know what kind of game I really like? A game where you play as a small critter in like a regular sized world, but it seems big to them, right? Think of Toy Story 2 for the PS1, Grounded, the Xbox survival game, Chibi-Robo for the GameCube, which is my favorite GameCube game. That's a huge part of why it's my favorite game is because you're like a little small critter in a normal sized world. I tried looking for a name for those kind of games and there isn't one anywhere. So I took it upon myself to name this genre. From now on, all such games will be known as critterlikes. I think it's a perfect title. You immediately understand what the genre is about from the name, right? Critterlike. Toy Story 2 is a critterlike. And you know what's another great critterlike? The topic of today's video, Bugdom 1 and 2. Both are awesome critterlikes and I played both games and I will be talking about both games obviously in this video. So let's jump into the wacky world of this bug-themed critterlike. Bugdom was made by Pangea software for the Mac OS 9 way back in 1999, and then later it was ported to Windows in 2000. And since Pangea is a developer that makes games exclusively for the Mac, they actually commissioned someone to make a port. There's actually a whole sub-story about the infamous Bugdom PC port. So Bugdom was ported for Windows by Gathering of Developers, but then Gathering of Developers was acquired by Take-Two Interactive in 2002, but they didn't retain the rights for Bugdom in that acquisition. So then another company was commissioned to make a Bugdom port, a company called Ideas from the Deep. But apparently Take-Two kept publishing pirated versions of Bugdom, so much so that Ideas from the Deep ended up contacting the FBI to alert them that Take-Two is illegally publishing Bugdom copies. Apparently nothing came of that. It's a real weird corporate hell sub-story to an otherwise really cute and inoffensive game. But yeah, Bugdom 2 was released in 2002. As far as I know, there's nowhere near as much drama with the Bugdom 2 release as there is with Bugdom 1. I actually didn't play the original Bugdom 1 and 2 for this video. I played the modern ports of both games made by Ilias, and he's done an incredible job of porting them. It is, for the most part, really faithful to the original games, aside from offering a widescreen resolution and just anti-aliasing. It does support controller input, which the original didn't, but I used mouse and keyboard. This port is incredible. Huge shout out for Ilias for this work. Not only did he port Bugdom 1 and 2, he ported the entire Pangea library, and it's all available all for free on his itch page and all officially endorsed by Pangea software. It's actually amazing. I have a vague memory of playing Bugdom, specifically Bugdom 1. When I was a kid, I used to go to these English classes and they had like computers in the waiting room, and I remember them having Croc and Spider-Man installed on those computers, and I think they also had Bugdom installed, and that's where I played. Like a couple times I played Bugdom, but for the most part I would just play the much cooler Spider-Man and Croc. Kid me in this case had no idea what he was thinking, okay? Like Bugdom kind of slaps, bro. So in Bugdom, you play as Rollie McFly, a roly-poly bug that's the only remaining bug capable of saving the ladybugs and restoring peace to the Bugdom after the fire ants invaded and King Thorax took the throne. You play through 10 levels and they're all such cute, imaginative takes on the critter-like genre. I love it. It's just so charming and so lovely. Everything about this game is just so oozing with charm and personality. The main menu, the UI, every single level starts with a unique little level title introduction, and it's just so cute. And I love the in-game UI, how there's these top and bottom borders, which back then, like, they kind of, you know, forced widescreen with those borders, which is really cool. But now with this modern port, which does support widescreen, the game turned into this ultra widescreen IMAX cinematic experience of a game. It's actually really sick. Throughout 10 levels, you make your way through Bugdom to get to King Thorax, and we start out in just, you know, level 1, just typical bug zone. This is just, you know, a backyard type thing, just the forest, I guess. While we're here, let's just go through the controls real quick. This game actually offers 3 different control schemes. There's the controller movement, then there's a typical WSD movement, and then there's this third, just crazy enough to work, control scheme that I didn't think I was gonna like, but I end up using this one both in Bugdom 1 and 2. It's actually really cool. So you use your mouse to move. In whichever direction you move your mouse, that's where Rollie McFly goes. And by itself, it's good, but a bit annoying because, you know, he only goes forward as long as you push the mouse forward. So you really have to just keep swiping the mouse like you're a fucking pro player or something, right? Like an esports legend. But there's an auto run button. If you just hold shift, Rollie will just keep going in the direction you're facing. So that, along with the mouse controls, is actually really nice. And you can do some really accurate platforming with it. Because if you slowly move your mouse, he'll do a little slow walk. If you swiftly move your mouse, he'll do a run. It's actually like really cool and surprisingly competent. In this game, you can walk, you can jump, you can kick, and that's how you get loot and defeat enemies. You just kick them. You can also, because you're a little roly-poly, you can roll up into a ball and then just go forward at max speeds. Like, it's actually insane how fast you can go in roll mode. Like, so much so that for the most part I didn't use it because you just lose all control, right? It's just like, Jesus, take the wheel, take the ball. When you're in an open area, it's really cool to whip out, but it uses stamina, so you know, you can't just forever go ball mode. And you also occasionally get these little buzzing bees that follow you, and if you press tab, you shoot them, and it like auto homes in on an enemy, ideally, right? But like a lot of times it just kind of misses and you just waste it. But it's good when you're overwhelmed with enemies. Which, speaking of, you're overwhelmed with enemies most of the game, because I don't know why, but very annoyingly, you can't kill any enemies. You can just, if you hit them, they're stunned for like 2 seconds and then they're back at it. It's actually very annoying, and in later levels, there's just so many of them and like nothing you do helps, right? All you can do is really run. I love how just critter-like everything is. The checkpoints in this game, it actually took me a long time to even figure out what it's supposed to be, but there's these little straws with a little drop of water peeking out, and then when you collect the water, you activate the checkpoint. It's so cute. Throughout the levels, there's these little ladybug cages that you have to break open to rescue them. It doesn't unlock any extra stuff, right? It just affects your score. If you collect all of the ladybugs in a level, the little ladybug icon sprouts wings, right? It's just such a cute touch. But speaking of high scores, even the high score leaderboard visual is just so full of charm. It's this flower that just keeps going down all the way down to the root, and it's just adorable. But yeah, this game really delves deep into what a bugdom, you know, a bug kingdom would look. Because like in level 3, there's this grasshopper, I guess, taxi service, and you have to collect a coin and then bring it to the grasshopper, and then you can drive it around the pond, and it's just so cute. Then the level after that, it's the most intense, cool, majestic, and difficult level of the game, I think. And it's really funny because in the beginning, I guess you're going through human land, because one of the biggest hazards in this level are just human feet stomping around. But it's very odd because they're never in pairs. It's always single feet moving around, and they're always barefoot. So that's odd, but like really funny and cute, you know, just cute. But in this level, you also get to ride a dragonfly, and it's fucking sick. The controls are janky as hell, but it's so cool. And it's really stressful because later there's this basically obstacle course you have to go through on a dragonfly. But if you go too high up, a weird little bat or like a weird flying creature will just snatch you up and eat you. It's actually terrifying. But that's throughout the entire level. You can't just, you know, fly all the way up and then skip the entire level, because if you reach a certain height, that weird bat creature will eat you. It's terrifying. And also the music is crazy, like intense, like epic. This is your destiny. Save all of Bugdom. And it's like, fuck yes. There's even boss fights in this game. Like in the next level, you fight against a queen bee. It is not that fun of a boss fight, but it's cool that there is a boss fight, right? And then the next level is just so cute. You're like doing a heist throughout a beehive. Like there's like these little tiny dynamite sticks planted everywhere, and you have to like activate them and then just keep going through the beehive. It's adorable. And then the later levels are just kind of, you know, you get closer and closer to the fire ants. So there's more enemies and more fire ants. There's really annoying part with fireflies. If you like even approach them, they'll just pick you up and just carry you all the way back to the beginning of the level. Even in ball mode, you cannot outrun them. It's like it follows. They will get your ass eventually. It's crazy. You finally make your way to the fire ant, and the boss fight is very similar to the queen bee boss fight. You just have to kind of like dash into him a couple times where there's just a bunch of shit all around you. But we do it. We did it. We finally defeat the evil King Thorax, and we're crowned the next king. Isn't that wonderful? Isn't that beautiful? And that's how Rollie McFly saved the Bugdom. The end. All in all, that was a pretty good game. It was very charming. I think they used the most out of the critter-like genre and the theme. Sadly, the levels and the amount of enemies got so overwhelming and annoying that like by the end of it I started almost speed running the game. And I do think that's kind of by design because like you can do the whole roll move, but still it was very overwhelming at a lot of different points. But yeah, it's a solid critter-like. If you are a fan of the critter-like genre, definitely check out Bugdom 1. Now, on to Bugdom 2. It's been 3 years since Rollie McFly saved all of Bugdom from the evil King Thorax. And things seems to be, pretty chill. You actually play as a different bug in Bugdom 2. You play as Skip, and his quest is much more humble, much more relatable. So he is making his way through Bugdom to visit his relatives, when suddenly a bully bee swoops in and steals his little ant bindle. That's the game. Literally for the entire game, you just chase this bee to get your stuff back. It's a much more personal and relatable quest, if you ask me. Skip is a man of the people. It's really cool because he's a completely different bug. He's a grasshopper, right? So he can't roll up and go ball mode, but he can jump super high. And if you jump again, you start gliding. And you have like a little glide meter that's just represented by little berries. I don't know why exactly. And your health bar is represented by strawberries, while in the original it was just, green and red bars. You can still kick things, but you can also pick up things. And that's kind of like a really big game mechanic. Like a lot of the times you have to pick something up and drop it off somewhere else. But yeah, this feels like such a huge upgrade from Bugdom 1. While I was playing Bugdom 1, I was blown away. Even in my notes, I wrote down that this is one of the best critter-like games of all time. But honestly, I retract that statement after playing Bugdom 2. Bugdom 2 is so much better. Like, I really enjoyed Bugdom 1, and I think you should play both games. But after playing Bugdom 2, I could barely remember what Bugdom 1 was all about, right? Like what the levels are like. While I specifically remember each level of Bugdom. It's not all good, right? There's 2 specific levels which are meh, but the rest are so cool and so fun and so imaginative and just peak critter-like. But yeah, this game features voice acting. Okay, there's these 2 creature allies throughout the game that appear in every single level. Sally the squirrel and Sam the snail. And they have voice acting. For Sally the squirrel, you just have to pick up an acorn and give it to her, and then in return she'll either give you a checkpoint or a map. That is a huge quality of life feature, because there was no maps in Bugdom 1. You could get lost because it was all just grass and dirt. The first 5 minutes of any level I was just like so confused, like where the hell am I? While in this game, even without the map, that isn't a problem, but especially when you get a map, it's really nice. The UI again is really cute. I do kind of miss the ultra wide UI of the previous game, but even this one is just so full of charm. The map is a different thing depending on what level you're at, because now in the first level, the front yard, the map is like a little leaf. But then there's this one level where you're in the closet, like in the human closet, and it's a little notepad paper. It's just so adorable. But another awesome quality of life feature in Bugdom 2 is that you can actually kill enemies. If you kick them or hit them enough times, they'll just stay down. Like literally, you can see their bodies and they are not getting up. It's awesome. Stay the fuck down, bitch. Stay down. But the combat, quote unquote, is pretty much the same as in Bugdom 1. You can kick, you still have the little missile buzzing bees you can send out, and just all the enemies are way goofier, because in the original it was just bugs. At most it was an ant throwing like a rock at you. Well, here there's like a flea that looks like grease for some reason. They have like a leather jacket. Then there's ticks that throw bottle caps. There's a bunch of bugs and they all have little cute unique weapons. It's really, really charming. There's also like a level in the toy room and you have to fight against toy robots. It's so cute. Bugdom 1 levels didn't really have titles. It was just like level 1, 2, 3, all the way up to level 10. But in this game, each level has a name. Since each level is more unique, I'm just gonna go through all the levels real quick, because there are a couple that are like really good, but also a couple that are like the biggest problem of the game. So you start out in the front yard, and this is very familiar to Bugdom 1, right? Just like reach the end, you get a couple keys to open doors, because yeah, that's a thing in both Bugdom 1 and 2. I kind of skimmed over that, but occasionally you find a key, you pick it up, and then you unlock a door. It's not very revolutionary gameplay, so sorry if I ruined your experience now. Oh yeah, instead of saving ladybugs in Bugdom 1, you save little mice trapped in a mousetrap. But yeah, I would say the first 2 levels are the most unimaginative, because it's just the front yard and the backyard. But then the 3rd level is Fido's fur. The entire level is on a dog. It's a bit gross, especially if you look at the ground, which is supposed to be, dog skin. The objective of the level is to kill ticks and fleas. So it's at the same time really gross, but also really cute and imaginative, right? I love the critter-like vibes of this game. They really go hard on it. And then the next level blows. 2.5 levels of this game are ass, which is a lot because there's only 10 levels to this game, but the rest are so good that I still really like this game. So it's the sewer, and it's just a really long minigame. It's really cute for the first like 30 seconds, but it goes on for like 5 minutes. You're just doing like a little slide down the sewer and you have to evade leaves and gunk, and it plays like surfer music. It's cute, but then it just keeps going. But after we manage to survive the sewer, we enter the playroom, and it's a very Toy Story 2 for the PS1, obviously, right? There's like toy robot enemies. Sandy the squirrel tells you have to beat Sam the snail in a toy car race to get a key, and you do, and it's awesome. It's really, really cute. And the next level is in the closet. In this level, yeah, the map is a notepad, and the doors, instead of like being these leaf doors, it's a little diary, and you have to find the key to the diary to open the book so you can pass through. It's just adorable. There's also a little chip bug enemies. They suck as enemies because still I don't know how to kill them. They're just insanely OP, but the idea is so cool. And even to progress the level, you have to like build this motherboard so it opens a gate. It's just like crazy. There's also like weirdly photos of real human, real life families throughout the level. I'm guessing they're like photos of the developers or something, but just who are these people? And then this next level is literally the same as the sewer. It's really lame, but that's the second of the 2.5 lame levels, okay? We only have half a level to go. The next level is in a garbage can, and god, just so cute, so imaginative. What a good critter like. There was this one part where for the life of me I couldn't figure out what to do next. Like there was this locked door that I need a key for, and I just didn't know how to get the key for it. Because usually Sam the snail tells you like, oh, do this and I'll give you a key for it. But for this one, he just said like, oh, these soda cans can be opened still. Yeah, you open and then like they just shoot you upwards, and that's it. Like I was so stuck that I googled like a strategy guide for the game, and there is still on the official Pangea software website, there's an official strategy guide. And for this level, this is the one part that like everyone got stuck on because it is weird. So at the top of the soda cans, there's these little butterflies, and in general throughout the game, those butterflies, you just run into them and they like shatter, and they drop like either healing or stamina for your gliding or just like little point boosters. But for this part, one of the butterflies drops the green key, and that is so odd to me because nowhere else in this game does a butterfly drop a key. So I never even like register like, oh, maybe I should destroy the butterflies, because up until now there was no point to that. And this is level 8 out of 10, so it's just odd. But yeah, at the end of this level, Sam the snail tells you how to fix a broken toy plane, and you just fly off into the next level. How would he know how to fix a plane? Most of his tasks so far have been just like weirdly human-like. For this one level, he wants you to finish a jigsaw puzzle, and like, why is a snail doing jigsaw puzzles? How can a snail even comprehend jigsaw puzzle? Odd, very odd. Okay, this next level is the half shitty level, because all in all, I like the idea of this level, but it's so long. So the entire level is just like a little flying minigame. You control this toy plane, and Sam the snail says that he'll tell you where the bully bee went if you destroy all of the anthills in this level. Why does he want to destroy anthills in the first place? That is bizarre. Like, what's your end goal here, Sam the snail? But also, there are 16 anthills here, and you have to like drop a bomb on them, and it has to be perfectly timed to fall into the center hole. It has to be like very, very precise, and the whole time a ton of dragonflies are trying to kill you. And also there's these frogs, which if you're even in the vicinity of them, you're fucked. And also there's no map for this level, and it's this just top-down view of just dirt. Right? Dirt and a river halfway through it. I'm like, what am I looking at? Where the fuck are these supposed to be? I spent half an hour on this level. On average, I would say a level took me about like 10 minutes, maybe less. But this one was just like so long, just looking for 16 anthills, bro. And it sucks. It sucks because like it was fun. For the first 5 anthills, it was fun. Man, I must have like looped around like 20 times, dude. It's just crazy. But we finally do it, and we move on to the last level of the game, the park. And this level is like pretty standard. There are like a lot of cute moments, but it's just like a park. And honestly, it sounds a bit lame, I guess, compared to the other like wacky levels, but like this is just so chock full of iconic critter-like moments. Like there was this picnic basket and a bunch of ants are stealing food from the basket. Then there was a guy fishing in the pond, and then Sam the Snail asks you to help him catch fish. And then at the very end, you find the beehive that the bully bee went in, and Sam the Snail tells you how to smoke out a bee from a beehive, and you follow his teachings, and then you just wait for the bully bee to come out, and you grab your stuff, and that's it. That's the game. It's so inconsequential, but that's what makes it so charming for me. I mean, it took me like an hour to play, right? It's just like less than an afternoon. It's just so fun. I hate to say it, but Bugdom 2 fucking destroys Bugdom 1, okay? Every single thing aside from the sliding levels is so much better in Bugdom 2. The movement, the fact that you can actually kill the enemies for good in a level, the levels, the themes of the levels themselves, so they really took the critter-like idea to the next level. It is a bit gross, but just the idea of a level being like on a dog's fur is so crazy, so wacky. And the closet level, where you build like a little toy plane, the playroom levels, just like so many cool critter-like moments. This critter-like is for the ages, okay? It's definitely one in the top 20 critter-likes, I'd say. Okay, now that we're familiar with the vibes and the gameplay of both Bugdom 1 and 2, it's time for the real discussion of this video. Which protagonist is more heroic? Hello, welcome back to the Theory Corner. It's been a while, hasn't it? I think the last time we've been here was for the Jack and the Beanstalk video, but I felt like what I'm about to say, this groundbreaking, revolutionary lore theory I think it's gonna be best represented in visual form, okay? So, we have two main characters, right? Two protagonists. Rollie McFly from the first game, and Skip, last name unknown, from the second game. And if we were to follow, you know, typical hero archetypes, Rollie McFly would definitely be a classical hero, right? It's just like very cut and dry. Save the realm, save Bugdom, Rollie McFly, you're our only hope. And he's like, okay, I shall answer the call to adventure and save all of Bugdom. Which is, you know, very noble, very classical, very heroic. Classical hero. Are you getting it? Now Skip, on the other hand, his motivations and his story is much more humble, but I think that's where his heroism truly shines. Now stay with me here. Skip is just going through Bugdom on his way to a relative when a bee steals his stuff, right? All of this we know. But along the way, what does he do? He sees all of the injustice and all of the crime happening in Bugdom, and he just saves mice. That is not necessary to his end goal, and yet still he puts himself in danger to save those poor defenseless mice and all sorts of other creatures. Yes, sometimes the snail asks him to do that in order to progress, which we'll get to later. But for the most part, he just does it from the kindness of his heart, okay? And he is the everyman hero because of his motivations, right? Like his goal is just to, I want to get my stuff back. And then along the way, he becomes a hero. Mostly of mice, but still a hero nonetheless, right? Now, why am I talking about this? Well, you see, along my research for this video, I stumbled across a subreddit, an official Bugdom subreddit. I don't know if it's official, but r/Bugdom. And over on that subreddit, there's a lot of Rollie McFly glazing and a lot of Skip slander. And I actually read the subreddit before I played Bugdom 2. And I believed them. In my head, I was like, oh man, I don't want to play as Skip. But now, they're wrong, okay? There are a few Skip defenders in that subreddit, and I'm with you, okay? I am on your side. I'm on the right side of history here. Skip is the true hero, while Rollie McFly is an opportunistic little shit, okay? Because here's the story of Bugdom 1. The fire ants have attacked Bugdom, and they have ensnared all of the bugs, and supposedly they killed the previous king and his whole dynasty, right? Because they installed the Fire Ant King as the next king, and then once Rollie McFly defeats the Fire Ant King, who's the next king? Rollie McFly himself. Now, where was he during the initial invasion? Hiding somewhere. Because he was not interested. And then, conveniently, when the entire previous kingdom lineage has been cut down, he thinks to himself, wait a minute, there's an opportunity here. If I kill the previous king, I can become the next king. So he didn't see, he is no hero. He is no classical hero, okay? This was a misdirect. He just wanted to be king because obviously in the game he had the prowess to cut down all of the Fire Ant Kingdom, and he just didn't. Literally, he just waited until all hope was lost and he's like, okay, I'll do it. So at his best, he's a lazy bum, right? Who just didn't feel like helping until there was no other choice. And at worst, he's a conniving little shit out to get the throne. And to his credit, I will say, to his credit, the way he got the crown may have been illegitimate, but he is a legitimately good king, which we can see in Bugdom 2, right? Because Bugdom 2 is set 3 years after Bugdom 1, and there's ants, right? And they're not enemies. They're just hanging around, and they're coexisting with other bugs. They only attack Skip once Skip takes their food, okay? And then they're like, hey, that's my food, and then they attack him, which is completely warranted. So I will say, Rollie McFly may not be a good person, but he's a good king. Maybe he ruled the kingdom with an iron fist, right? And like all the ants were forced to get in line. I don't know, but the results are okay. But he is no hero, okay? While Skip is a true kind-hearted soul. I rest my case. I think this is obviously theory crafting, but it's a solid, concrete theory, okay? The proof is in the pudding. But now, my next order of business. What is Sam the Snail up to? Because he is definitely up to something. I do not trust Sam the Snail at all. He is up to something. I just don't know what exactly. I have a few ideas circulating, but he is no friend of Skip or anyone in Bugdom, and I can prove it, okay? First of all, Uncle Sam the Snail. Sam also could be an acronym for semi-autonomous machine, because I believe he's a government drone, okay? He's definitely a human spy, a human psyop to disrupt Bugdom, the bugs, the critter kingdom known as Bugdom. I have proof. I have proof for all of this, okay? Because what does he know how to fix a plane? In that closet level, how does he know how to operate human technology, okay? Human spy, human spy. Why are his objectives mostly to disrupt critter life and to aid humans, okay? I do appreciate him wanting to help Fido, but like that's still a human objective, right? But like, I'll let that one slide because I like dogs. But the rest of them, something's up. First of all, he wants you to get picnic food back from ants. That only helps humans. Why would he want that? Because he doesn't even eat the food. He's just like, hey, those fucking ants are trying to survive. Fuck them up. And because poor Skip, he doesn't know any better, that is one bad thing about Skip, right? He will just listen. He just wants to help people, and he sees a snail and he's like, okay, I'll help you, buddy. But he doesn't question. But I do, okay? There's something is up. And then he also wants you to help the fisherman by tricking the fish into biting, right? That only serves humanity again. And then I didn't even write this down because there's so much evidence that I forgot. Why does he know how to smoke out bees, right? Because that's the last level. He's like, oh, I know of a way to smoke out bees. Why would you know that? How could you know that? You're a snail. You don't even have arms to collect twigs and leaves for a fire. You need to know that, okay? He's a drone. He's a drone. He's a human spy. He's a psyop. He's anti-critter. He's here to disrupt. He's planning something. I don't know what he's planning, but he is not on our side. He is not on Skip's side, and he's definitely not on Bugdom's side, okay? There's lore. There is depth to Bugdom. If you think this is just a silly kids game and I'm overthinking this, you're wrong. You're dead wrong. Sadly, there isn't enough information and evidence in the game for me to find a conclusion. But there is something here, okay? I think this is more than enough proof that Uncle Sam the snail is up to something. And I rest my case. I swear there's a bug crawling on me or I'm losing my mind. I'm going fucking paranoid over this. This fucking Sam shit got me fucked up, man. There's something on me. There's a fucking little bug drone, okay? They know that I'm onto them. So they're here to take me out. If you never hear from me again after this video, you know where to look. You know where to look. But yeah, now you know pretty much all there is to know about Bugdom. And you're welcome. This is the end of the video. I'm not behind my usual green screen setup because I forgot to record the ending first before this whole thing. And I cannot be fucked to set up my green screen shit again. So here we are. I really like the games. They're both just 10 levels. You know, obviously there's some like, you know, old game jank friction. But aside from that, like, I was surprised by how much fun I had and how charming they were. And the fact that both games are just free on itch thanks to this incredible guy. And there's also like, same as Bugdom 1 and 2, there's a bunch of other ports, modern PC ports for other Pangea software games, which is awesome. I'm definitely gonna check them out at one point. It's just like, honestly, literally doesn't cost you anything to check them out. So if you're craving for some peak critter-like action, check out Bugdom 1 and 2. I don't know, this is just a silly little video about these silly little games with a sinister underplot. Yeah, see ya!
Bye.